Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the content you're engaging with, articles, videos, whatever's caught your eye, and we really break it down for you. We pull out the core insights. Think of it as, well, getting the crucial info without all the legwork.
Exactly. We're trying to get beyond just skimming the surface, right?
Yeah.
To really pull out the key stuff that broadens your perspective or gives you something practical.
So today we're diving into a YouTube transcript. It's from the English Podcast Zone.
Okay.
And the title is Learn English Quickly with Podcast English Learning Conversation, Episode 1.
Right. And our goal here is sort of twofold. First, we want to see what language learning strategies they're actually using or showing. And second, just highlight the useful sort of everyday English phrases that come up in their conversation.
Yeah, so the idea is that you, the listener, come away with some concrete tools, things you can actually use.
Mm-hmm. Whether you're, actively studying English or just want to get better at navigating everyday chats.
And what really jumped out at me with this source was how it uses this really common but slightly awkward social situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as a way to teach practical English. It's not just abstract rules. It's language used in a very real scenario.
That's a great point. Because seeing how language actually works in a real social setting, especially one that has that little bit of relatable awkwardness, that can be super powerful for making things stick. You understand why you'd use it.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. The dialogue, it's got these two people, Nick and Anna.
Okay.
They met before at a conference.
Right, they're meeting again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the awkwardness kicks in pretty fast because Nick, he remembers meeting her, but he just cannot remember her name. Blanked.
Oh, that feeling. Yeah, we've all had that mental blank, haven't we, where it just vanishes.
Totally. It's so common that Anna actually says in the dialogue, don't worry about it. It happens to me all the time.
Which is nice of her. But yeah, it really is a shared thing.
Yeah.
And the transcript also mentions Nick saying he's in a bit of a hurry.
Ah, right.
Which probably just adds to the pressure, Maybe it makes the memory lapse even worse. It's a little detail, but it makes it feel very real.
Okay, let's zoom in on that phrase then. In a bit of a hurry. That's one of the first sort of language takeaways they highlight.
Spot on. It's just a really common way to say you don't have much time or you need to get moving.
Pressed for time.
Yeah, basically. A concise way to put it.
And the source, the English Podcast Zone transcript, it gives 3 really clear examples of how you'd actually use it. The first one is, can you drive faster? I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Yeah, I think we can all imagine that scene. The second one they give is, I can't talk right now, I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Definitely used that one before, or thought it at least. And the last one they offer is, I'm in a bit of a hurry, so I'll check these files later.
Right, so that shows how you use it to kind of postpone something because you just don't have the time right then.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's polite, but gets the message across. Your time's limited.
Exactly. Yeah. Efficient.
Okay, so moving on from that. After that initial awkward bit, Nick gives Anna his business card. And this brings us to the next language point. Contact details.
Right, contact details. It sounds simple, but it's obviously crucial. It's just, the info you need to get in touch.
Like name, phone, email. The stuff on a business card.
Yeah, exactly that. The purpose is just to allow people to phone or email each other later on. Practical stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we get to that really relatable moment where Nick kind of fumbles and says, you know what, this is really embarrassing, but your name has just slipped my mind. Can you remind me?
Ah, yes.
And that introduces the third phrase, slip my mind.
Which is such a great idiom. It really conveys that idea of forgetting something, but accidentally.
Right, not on purpose.
Yeah, it wasn't ignored. It just, poof.
Oh.
Vanished from your memory for a second.
And they give a couple of good examples for this, too. First, I'm sorry I forgot to respond to your email. It just slipped my mind.
Very common situation.
And the second one, don't you know what day it is today? Yeah. Oh, it's your birthday. It completely slipped my mind.
Ooh, yeah. That one really hits home the unintentional part. You overlooked something important, but you didn't mean to.
So, slipped my mind. That's your go-to when you genuinely forgot and you want to signal it wasn't deliberate. Okay, so after these specific phrases, the source moves into a section they call putting it together.
Yeah, which I think is a smart approach.
How so?
Well, it shows how you take simple words and combine them to get more nuanced meanings. It helps make your English sound smoother, more natural.
Gotcha.
And the first set they look at is all based around the word around.
Okay. Like around here?
Exactly. They start with around here, which just means nearby, close by. Their example is there a bank around here? pretty standard question.
Hmm.
Then they add around the corner, which is a little more specific, right? Usually means on the next street.
Like in the dialogue, actually, my office is right around the corner.
Precisely. Perfect example. And then
Yeah.
there's around there.
Which is more general.
Yeah, near that general location. Their example was Los Angeles is a great city. I used to live around there. So not a specific spot, but in that broader area.
Interesting how those small shifts with around change the meaning.
Definitely. And understanding those little differences is really key for, speaking more precisely. Prepositions can be tricky like that.
Tell me about it. Okay, what's the next phrase they tackle in that putting it together part?
Terrible with.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, super useful phrase. Just means you're bad at something, you lack skill in a certain area.
Simple enough. What examples did they give?
They had 3. First, you're terrible with numbers. You can't even remember your own telephone number.
Mm-hmm. A bit harsh, maybe?
Maybe a little, but it makes the point. Second was, I'm terrible with directions. I'm always getting lost.
Okay, now that one feels personal. I'm definitely terrible with directions.
You and many others, I suspect. And the third was, I'm terrible with faces. I can never remember what people look like.
Which loops right back to Nick's problem, forgetting Anna's name.
Exactly. It shows how being terrible with faces can lead straight into those awkward moments we talked about.
Yeah. And didn't one of the hosts actually say they were bad with something too?
Yes, that was a nice touch. One said, I'm also terrible with numbers. It makes it feel more, I don't know, human. Less like a dry lesson.
For sure. And the other one admitted to being terrible with faces, right?
Mm-hmm. Which again connects back to the dialogue scenario. It's kind of reassuring, isn't it? Even people teaching English struggle with these things sometimes.
Definitely humanizes it.
Yeah.
Shows these are normal challenges.
Yeah, exactly. Part of being human, not just about language learning.
Okay, so after they cover that, they have another listen to the dialogue, but slower. And then they move to something called a fluency builder.
Right, the fluency builder section. That focuses on making your spoken English sound more, natural and conversational. Less like you're reading from a book.
And what was the key phrase there?
How's it going?
Ah, the classic casual greeting.
Exactly. They point out that, how are you? Or how are you doing are fine. How's it going? Just has that very natural, informal feel. Good for friends, acquaintances.
Yeah, it's definitely a common one. And they mentioned it's used right at the start of their dialogue.
Yep. Anna greets Nick with, how's it going? Right at the beginning.
So using those kinds of slightly more informal, natural greetings can make a difference.
A big difference, yeah. Makes you sound more fluid, less stilted. One of those small things that adds up.
Okay, now this next part I thought was really valuable. The hosts share some personal stories.
Yeah, the anecdotes about forgetting names themselves.
Right. It adds humor, personality, but also some actual useful tips come out of it.
Totally. One of the hosts, Marco, tells this story about forgetting a relative's name at a reunion.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and having to, secretly ask another cousin who it was. Cringy, but relatable.
Definitely been in similar, maybe less dramatic situations. And the other host, Erica, she shared her strategies for when she forgets a name, but more in a business context.
Yeah, and her tips were really practical, like politely asking for a business card gives you a chance to see the name again.
Sneaky. I liked it.
Or asking them to maybe spell out their email address because the name's usually in there. Just clever little workarounds.
See, that's great. It's not just language tips anymore. It's like social survival skills.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's comforting, like you said, knowing even English teachers have these moments and have ways to handle them gracefully.
It really connects the language to the actual messy reality of communicating with people.
Exactly. It's not just about grammar rules. It's about navigating interactions.
Okay, so nearly at the end then, before they finish up, they include an audio review.
Yeah, a review segment, which is smart, helps reinforce everything they covered.
How does it work?
They basically just run through the key words and phrases again, give a quick definition, then use each one in a new sentence.
Okay, so they'd review things like
how's it going, around here, around the corner, in a bit of a hurry, contact details, slip my mind, terrible with, around there.
Got it.
And they also threw in some related words like to recognize, acquaintance, in a rush, which is similar to in a hurry and forgetful.
So it's a pretty thorough recap. Helps lock it in.
Yeah, that repetition and hearing the words in slightly different ways really helps with memory, I think.
Cool. Good strategy.
And it's usually quite quick at the end, a good test to see what you've absorbed.
Okay, so let's recap our own deep dive here into this English learning source. We've pulled out quite a few really practical English phrases for just, normal conversations.
Hmm.
And it all started from that very relatable situation, forgetting someone's name.
Yeah, we looked at things like in a bit of a hurry for when you're short on time, contact details for sharing info. That great idiom slipped my mind for accidental forgetting.
Right. And we clarified those subtle differences with around, like around here, around the corner, around there.
Yeah.
And also how to say you're bad at something with terrible with.
And don't forget the fluency bit using how's it going for that natural, casual greeting.
Oh, right. Plus, those genuinely helpful social tips for when you do blank on a name, which, let's be honest,
It
happens.
really does. So yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty rich source for anyone wanting to boost their everyday English communication.
Agreed. And the main takeaway, maybe, is that understanding a language isn't just about dictionary definitions, right?
No, not at all. It's about seeing how words and phrases actually work in real dynamic situations, how people use them.
So here's something for you, our listener, to think about. Have you ever been in that awkward spot where a name just completely vanished? How did you handle it? Or maybe, thinking about your own learning, which of these phrases we discussed today feels like it would be the most useful for you right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. And maybe also consider how getting a handle on these sort of smaller details of everyday language, the idioms, the casual phrases, how that can really boost your confidence when you're actually talking to people. It's often those little things that help you go from just knowing the words to feeling genuinely comfortable using the language.